The P3 system controllers are video processors that let you set up and operate Martin LED-based video display device installations working in a user-friendly interface. The controllers accept standard video signals and distribute video to the installation using Martin's P3 signal. P3 system controllers feature an intuitive graphic user interface, providing the user with ease of setup and configuration. Multiple video input connections facilitating a wide range of video input options. Output pixel capacity is expandable with additional P3 system controllers to facilitate any size installation. Control of the video like Genlock, image rotation, scaling, deinterlacing, gamma curve adjustment. Real-time control via DMX and automation protocols with real-time color temperature and color space control. Real-time preview of video input and mapped canvas. Dynamic device remapping. P3 system controller offline editor that lets you prepare an installation layout offline.
So here we have a set of VC grids controlled by DMX pixel mapping on a media server, surrounded by a set of VC grids controlled by P3. So both parts of the setup get the same video signal, just in a different way. This is a very simple piece of content, but the DMX-driven part already shows a significant amount of latency. As pixel mapping via DMX, it's just much slower than driving everything with P3. You can also see that the DMX-driven units are running less smooth, as DMX is running at only 30 frames per second, while P3 is following the native 60 frames per second of the content. This kind of fast changes and bumps in the content shows another weakness of a DMX-based solution. You still see the latency issue which we saw earlier, but you can also notice that the 6 different universes of DMX in the center are not synchronized to each other. P3 on the other hand is a fully synchronized system, so all changes are fast and in sync. Martin is the only brand that uses the same advanced processing for all of its LED video products. From video panels and smaller video grids to video strips and video dots, they all rely on the same system that refuses to compromise on ease of use and image quality.
The P3 system controllers are a processor for the entire range of Martin LED video products, driving from 20,000 pixels to 2 million pixels. Integration with lighting and automation control is facilitated via integrated DMX, ArtNet, SACN, and KinSys interfaces, featuring a built-in scaler and mapper, DVI-D inputs up to 1920 by 1080, built-in GUI including easy setup wizards to allow the user to easily configure the setup of their installation. All connected products report status and problems back to the controller for easy monitoring and maintenance. The connections panel on the rear of the P3 controller vary depending on model number. The rear panel offers a management network port. This serves several purposes. First, it is the communication with P3 system controller's internal web server for retrieval of status information. Connection to external syslog client for monitoring. Communication with remote user interface. This connector's link LED indicates the presence of a link. The data LED indicates data activity at the connector. The eDMX port is for connection to various real-time show integration interfaces, such as connection to an eDMX, ArtNet, SACN source, as well as connections to a motion control KinSys K2, tape, and Navigator sources. This connector's link LED also indicates the presence of a link. The data LED indicates data activity at the connector. DMX in for connection from a DMX source. DMX through for daisy chaining the DMX signal to another device. P3 signal output. Connect to the LED video installations via an Ethernet cable. The P3 signal allows communication with an installation of LED video display devices. DVI-D in for digital video input. DVI-D through for daisy chaining the DVI-D signal to other devices. Local UI for connecting of local user interface components such as two USB 2.0 ports for mouse, keyboard, USB memory devices. And finally, DisplayPort connector for connection to a DisplayPort or a DVI, VGA, or HDMI via an adapter cable to a monitor that displays 1280 by 1024 or better. The LED status indicators, reset button, and USB ports on the front panel of the P3 system controllers vary depending upon model type. They have the following functions. Active LED flashes during startup and lights continuously during operation. Video in indicates that the currently selected video input is valid. P3 out indicates the P3 system controller is sending a P3 data signal on its P3 output port. Black freeze indicates that a blackout or a freeze command is currently applied. Remote indicates that the P3 system controller is currently being controlled remotely by a P3 system manager or another P3 system controller. DMX motion lights when a valid DMX, either DMX or motion control signal, is present at the DMX or eDMX input connectors on the rear panel. Over temperature flashes if the P3 system controller is approaching maximum safe operating temperature. The over temperature lights constantly if it has exceeded this temperature. There is a thermal protection circuit which throttles down the processor if the temperature is exceeded. The reset button lets you carry out a forced reset if the system controller's P3 application freezes and you cannot reboot the processor normally. Use the tip of a ballpoint pen to push the button. Take note, the system's controller constantly stores data in its onboard flash memory, so you are highly unlikely to lose any data if the application fails. The two USB ports, 2.0, on the front panel can be used for any USB peripheral, including keyboard and mouse, but are most conveniently placed for portable memory devices. The keyboard and mouse can be connected to the two USB ports on the rear connection panel.